Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Brickwork podcast. As you can see, we're kind of changing things up a bit. Wanted to introduce you guys to all of our new interns that just started this year. Without further ado, we have Erik Huisman, Hailey Irwin, Anahi Chavarria, and Conrad Smith. Hey guys.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, awesome. So we'll start this off with introductions, like just a quick background, and we'll start off with Erik first.
Yeah, so hey guys, my name's Erik. I'm a junior at USC right now. I'm majoring in geodesign, which basically encompasses GIS, architecture, and policy and real estate. And I also have a minor in architecture. I'm originally from Redwood City, California, which is in the Bay Area. It's like right in between San Francisco and San Jose. And a fun fact about me is I ran hurdles and the 2 mile in high school in track.
Nice. I like that. Okay, awesome. Welcome, Erik. Let's go to Hailey now.
Hello. My name's Hailey. I am a current sophomore at USC, also majoring in geodesign with a double minor in real estate development and communication technology practices and platforms. I'm really interested in going into geographic intelligence, hopefully. I'm originally from Washington, D.C., and a fun fact is I used to play competitive travel volleyball for 7 years.
Wow. Okay. So I was expecting answers of chess and checkers and stuff, but like this even better. All right. Perfect. So next up, Anahi.
Hi, my name's Anahi. I'm also a geodesign major at USC. I'm a sophomore, and I have a double minor in landscape architecture and songwriting. I'm originally from Temecula, California, and a fun fact about me is I am a musician, so I've played violin and guitar for about 7 years.
Awesome. I have no musical background at all, but I love watching musicians play, and I'm a big fan. So that's my comment to that. All right. Finally, we have Conrad. You're up.
Hey everyone, I'm Conrad. I'm a sophomore at USC, and I'm studying business administration, and I'm minoring in probably real estate development or real estate finance. I'm originally from Santa Monica, California, so close to USC. And quick fun fact about me is I ran the 2018 LA Marathon.
Nice. All right. Got athletes and musicians. So welcome, guys. So yeah, let's start this. Let's go right into your experience with us. So obviously I'm curious to hear this as well, but so just for the audience, we brought everybody on board kind of to help us out as we start to scale. We were a startup out here in LA for about 2 years now, and we need help in all aspects, but we've been they've been helping us really with the reports, and we got the ADU reports going out with the massing on Revit and sales and marketing. So there's a lot of work for them. So let's start off with Erik. So just kind of share with everyone what you've been doing with us, and then also if you've learned or picked up on anything while working with us, and then what you want out of this experience.
Yeah, so since geodesign is kind of like a three-pronged major, I was hoping to, at some point in my undergrad time, do something that relates to each of the three. And I was originally going to work for a local city in the summer of 2020, but that got canceled for COVID. So I was really happy when Brickwork allowed me to start working with them, because it let me sort of introduce myself to the real estate side of things. So far I've been working on some of the reports they do regarding due diligence of properties. But more recently, I've started to use my architecture skills to make 3D models of ADU masses, while also adhering to a lot of the local restrictions and guidelines about those ADU masses. So it's been really fun to both use my architecture skills and develop them a little bit more, while also learning more about the real estate side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Erik, I told you this one-on-one, but you're coming to become a product manager in your own right. So we didn't necessarily have an ADU massing report. What we were doing before Erik was we were partnering up with a couple local architects, and we were having them do the massing, but quickly realized that we couldn't even scale that because they were so busy. And so obviously they were open to the partnership because the opportunity to lead gen on their end. But yeah, after one or two or three, it kept getting longer and longer for us to get the reports back. So it was literally like a week or so before we could get them back. The good part was we were giving them out for free to beta users, so they weren't complaining, but we quickly knew that wasn't a solution. So Erik has been awesome. You've been great. So thank you so much. And Hailey, you're up next.
Yeah, so I originally heard about Brick and Work this winter break when I was contacted, and I'm very interested in real estate. I came to college, my entire college application was about how math translated into real estate. So I always knew it's something I definitely want to get more experience in. I took a really amazing class in real estate last semester, and it kind of opened my mind to everything that it has to offer. So when John told me it was about GIS and then real estate and then all in one, it was definitely caught my interest, and I was like, man, that sounds cool. I want to join and help out. So that was kind of how I got here, I guess. And then in terms of what I do, I'm kind of all over the place sometimes. I work on sales, I work on contacting people, work on this podcast, and I also do reports.
Awesome. Yeah. Hailey has been great. She's literally, so we, another fun fact is for us is we got referred to Hailey and Erik by Mia, as she goes by. And she was our kind of one intern that was doing it all. So imagine outside of obviously the massing studies, she was helping with sales, with marketing, and the reports. And before she left, I had asked her to create kind of manuals so that we could train up you guys faster. So she was awesome. But yeah, Hailey, you definitely got the experience of a generalist, kind of doing everything and anything. And that's one thing and takeaway, I think, for a startup is that even though you might be an engineer or you might be in marketing, sometimes you just have to do everything in the beginning stages. But you've been great. So welcome. And then I guess let's have Anahi up next. If you could share.
Yeah, so I heard about this Brick and Work through Erik. He said needed someone to help out with masses, and I'm currently taking a Revit class right now, and so I was really interested in joining. And so what I do, or what I've been doing, is helping Erik with making ADU reports and ADU masses on Revit, which has been really cool because I love the architecture aspect of my major. It's the part that I enjoy the most. So to be able to use those architecture skills that I've been learning in school has been really cool. So during my time here, I've learned a lot about ADUs. I've been reading the municipal codes, and I think just from having conversations with John, it's been really interesting to see the possibilities with that the ADUs offer us, and how we can use them to benefit our community and make housing more accessible to certain groups of people. And yeah, I've really enjoyed being on the team, and yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And one thing too is to share with everyone is we're going to be working on something exciting. Anahi's kind of going to lead the way on that front. It's something we are kind of not ready to announce as of yet, but it has to do with ADU. Obviously, you know, without going into details, Anahi's right. I mean, ADUs has been the single, I think, easiest way to get housing at scale all across California, especially here in Los Angeles. And so there's some creative ways, I think, that we can partner up and help in those different kind of, you know, sections of need. So student housing is something that's top of mind for us, but you know, everyone else in that kind of chain of needing affordable units an ADU would be a great solution for them. But I think the problem ends up being that a lot of people don't have the information. Of course, that's what we're here for, to provide. And real estate agents are the ones to drive that information out there to their clients, property owners that don't have the time to go, well, let me look into ADUs, right? They necessarily won't have the time. So I think it's been a great way. But Anahi, thank you so much. I know I'm just previewing it here, but we're working on something very exciting. Hopefully it comes to fruition here in the next few months and we can announce it. But she's going to be key in being able to get this in a scalable way with a notable partner or so. So thank you so much, Anahi. Conrad, you're up.
Yeah, so I previously worked in a little bit of entitlement work, I think going into my freshman year of college. And so when I had my initial meeting with John, we talked a little bit about, entitlement work and also, startup work. And so that's something that was really interesting to me, is to kind of have that other side of, real estate that, I hadn't understood or had that knowledge of. And so that's something that I'm, currently learning and excited to keep learning. And so, the different nuances of, not only entitlement in the real estate industry, but also, the startup side of it. And so right now I'm doing sales and marketing, reaching out to potential clients, meeting with clients. And so I'm definitely getting that side of the startup where it's definitely different from entitlement work, and I'm really enjoying it so far. And so I'm looking forward to, keep learning the industry and growing the business.
Yeah, absolutely. So Conrad is probably you and me, we're going to be working the most closely out of everyone. And because even in this aspect, obviously we have Tucker and we have, my partner Alex and the Irvine team. So they really kind of are the foundation or the backbone for all of the entitlement info, the zoning info, any correspondence with city planning, ADU. They're going to be in charge of that. So you're my guy for BizDev, and ultimately we live and die off of our user base. So I'm gonna we're actually in a capital raise right now. We've been able to pitch to some angel investors and some early stage venture capitalists, and I think we're starting to get to a level where we're going to be most likely able to capture investment. But Conrad's going to be vital in that role as well, because we're both going to be actually probably Conrad's hearing this for the first time, but we have a few crowdfunding campaigns that me and Conrad are going to work on, and that's in lieu or in the back of SEC's rules, where previously you were only able to raise about 1.1 or 1.2 million through that type of crowdfunding platform, but they've raised it to 5 million. So it opens the door for a lot of early stage or startups that want to go out and crowdfund up to 5 million. So Conrad's going to be vital for that. So that's another thing you can experience firsthand, helping us raise capital. And then obviously the capital, we just want to in turn start to create the map. And that just reminds me, I do want to go a little bit off topic from the questions, is the map. So we ultimately, the reason why Hailey and Eric and Anahi are from Geo Design is we are rooted in wanting to build the GIS map. And so, I think this reports that we're providing is our MVP. It's our minimum viable product. We wanted to get something out there in the hands of users and find out, is this a value? Will you pay for it? So we've been doing that, and we're continuing to do that. The next stage was really to raise capital to build the map. I think we're doing that kind of early stage right now in conjunction, but the map's going to be exciting. This data and the ability to provide this information quickly on a map format. Even today, I come across, I think Eric, you helped me kind of call the planning department for Buena Park on 2 lots because an agent had asked me for a favor to see if any developers wanted to build potentially 60 units. And how did she come up with that number? She has no idea, right? She's an agent, but she said, look, early talks with planning department said they'll potentially rezone to the project across the street, right, Eric? And then Eric called the planning department. What happened? Like they don't know, right? Off the top. What happened when you called them earlier today?
Yeah, well, the guy who answered the phone wasn't sure, and then he tried to forward me to someone else within the department, and they were out of the office, so I had to look it up, and I went through some of the Buena Park sort of real estate guidelines about parking, and the lot across the street has, I think, 272 parking spots, and it's mixed use, so it's 60 units of housing on top of a bottom floor, which is basically like a miniature mall with all the retail they have there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not exactly sure. I didn't spend a whole lot of time looking at it, but there's definitely some minimum parking requirements based on both the retail and the residential space.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire lot is pretty big. I think the building itself took up maybe a quarter of it. The rest is parking, in addition to a parking garage underneath the building. So the spot across the street that she was talking about is definitely a lot smaller. So I don't think you could fit that much parking in. So you'd probably have to downscale from 60 units.
Absolutely. But she was verbally telling me and other agents, hey, you could build 60 units just like across the street without doing any sort of due diligence. So again, this highlights the point. I talked to Tucker today. I go, so other people doing due diligence, there's no map that covers anything outside of the city of LA. And the city of LA has ZMIS, which now in comparison still is pretty a great solution. But at the same time, it's like none of the munis have any sort of mapping solution. So you literally have to go through PDF files of parcel maps and zoom in and size them yourself, right? Find out what the width and length are of lots, multiply them, and then come up with a solution. So again, I'm just saying we need the map, and we're super excited to be in early stages to start doing that. But, obviously, we feel that this map's going to be super powerful if it covers the city of LA, if it expands through all the, Buena Park and Cerritos and Culver City and all the unincorporated cities and municipalities across Southern California, and broadly for the US, right? If every city has a GIS map powered by Esri with relevant data that quickly can be accessible, but we also now, the cities don't fully understand, hey, well, what data should we provide, right? Because you're working from the city. But the agent's like, look, I'm just trying to sell this property. So I just need to know max units, what's parking, what's height, yada, yada. And I put that on a report and I send it off. And then the developer goes, wait a minute here. I'm going to actually have to underwrite this site. But of course, they then come full circle and work with Alex and, an entitlement consultant, right, for that underwriting and that submission. So it's kind of full circle, but it's being done very, like Eric said, just with calls. And I hate to say this, but people you're calling that run the planning department, the desk, are just recent grads of urban planning, probably from USC, if not some other schools. So they themselves don't have that, they're looking in the book. They're going, oh, wait, what's the setback? Here's an example for you guys. What's the setback on a commercial property on a C-zone lot if you're doing residential? So, this one developer was adamant, hey, I called city planning and they said it's 10 feet or whatever feet that you require. And we were like, no, it's 0, right? It's commercial, right? Like there is no setback. That's why you go in downtown and you go street and it goes, wow, Chipotle, like literally right there. It's enough for a sidewalk. There's no setback. It's because it's a C-zone using residential use, so there's no front setback, right? And so who told that developer there was a setback? LA City Planning. But again, recent grad, manning the desk, they don't have that information readily available. So that's, again, a power of this. Okay, so let's go into a topic. And if you guys could all unmute now, because I want to, give you guys the opportunity to kind of jump in here, is let's talk about the housing crisis and real estate in Southern California. So you guys are smart enough, you're exposed to a lot of these articles, you're reading about post-COVID, how things are going to change, ADUs. So anyone jump in here. What are your thoughts on kind of the problems that we're facing and what do you think could be a potential solution?
I think one problem is just rent going up. I'm actually at home in the Bay right now, but it's pretty similar to LA. I was talking to a guy while I was waiting to pick up some food. He was talking to me about how he's looking to move to Denver because he can get the same sort of apartment that he has right now, but for half the price. And I definitely think ADUs could be a part of the solution to that. They seem to be a lot cheaper. They're cheaper to build. They're smaller, so you would rent them out for less money, and you can put them on lots that already exist, and as well as combine them with multifamily homes. So I think that's one way. Maybe it's a little bit smaller than creating big apartments for cheap living, but I think it's definitely one way you could help impact the housing market.
Absolutely. I can't agree more. Anyone else?
Yeah, kind of go off what Eric said. I mean, even at USC alone, we're seeing this demand for housing and the supply of housing just getting uneven, and developers know they can come in and remove or not evict people who or remodel lands, which are normally like the families who are living here, and they could charge higher prices for students, and students will pay for it. So, I mean, even just within our own community, we see this kind of overturning of lands from the people who really do need the housing to people who can pay more money for the same lot. So it's just a everyday issue that no one's really addressing that much.
Agreed. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think another solution that we had talked about, I think that one of the clubhouse meetings was converting office space to like residential space, which is I thought was really interesting, especially now since COVID and people are working from home, so office space isn't as needed. That's a very efficient way to just convert that land and make it residential.
Yeah, that was for people watching, please join Clubhouse and come to search our rooms, because we're trying to get more people to show up to our rooms, right, when we have these discussions. But that was a great one with David Senden, who's a managing director for the LA office for KTGY. KTGY architects partner with us. They do the concept massing for commercial purposes. So like the mixed use or the apartments, they have so much expertise. They're the ones that go in and physically mass on AutoCAD quickly for us. So yeah, agreed. They have a flex flats concept. I think David was saying it matches older architecture, because the way that the buildings were designed, office buildings, pre-1960, is highly inefficient because they don't maximize on space. It was just more aesthetic that matched the times. And so you could just quickly, without having to demo and ground up, build something new, is just, I think their design concept is putting the all the residential units at the core or inside of the building, and the outer areas could be used for like common area, common space, kitchen, all that good stuff. So the actual housing would be inside. And I think they are doing a project right now where the costs end up being lower than actually just going and building something new. So great point, Anahi. I like that. So Conrad, you have something?
Yeah, I was gonna kind of add on to that. I'm curious to see what the transition is going to be back into commercial real estate, in terms of offices, and so that definitely plays a big part. If affordable housing is going to be taken to that level with the commercial buildings, once we're back to some normalcy, any sort of sense. But it's definitely going to be an interesting transition, and I'm curious to see if companies are going to keep the work at home, or if they're going to do a little hybrid, going to the office some days, working at home others, and to see how office buildings and commercial real estate in general is going to be affected by that.
Agreed. Yeah, there's so many articles that are saying it's full on. Everyone's has pent up demand, and they're just gonna want to meet, collaborate, when it's safe to do so. And the others went, well, wait a minute, like certain industries doesn't require to drive an hour there, hour back, right? Why don't we do exactly what you meant, which is like more of a flex schedule where it's like maybe 2 days from home, 3 days in the office. And I think all of those solutions make sense. I think they should just be catered to your industry, your role, right? And sometimes biz dev, unfortunately, remotely doesn't work out as well. So, for someone like us, we definitely need to be in seminars, in meetings, in conferences and stuff like that. But if you're doing analytics, coding, right, like a lot of that operational stuff, I think if you want, it should be optional for you to go in the office. You want to have a lunch, you want to talk, you want to, that should be your option. But I think you could well work from home doing that as well. So great point. So let's go into now anything else. I'm talking too much, I feel. I really want this episode to be more featured for you guys, right? And so feel free to unmute and talk about anything that you read about. So one kind of toss up I mentioned was GIS and maps. So, even locally here, everything is dominated with real estate and development news, right? So it's always like who's building what, and then, what transactions are, what $60 million, $100 million deals have been done. And you got to understand, it's because it's kind of like tabloid fodder, for news, right? They're just selling viewership. And so it's not really what should be talked about or discussed, but, it just, it gets clicks, right? I click, I go, who made $100 million commission, right? So you're going to get those clicks, but you guys are smart enough. You guys are interested in maps and in development, some other things and technology. So share with us anything that you've read in the past few weeks or months, or any topic that you want to kind of discuss. Anybody. And anything. It's okay. It doesn't have to be, all right, let me start it this way. So tell me, what are your thoughts about blockchain? So I'm kind of interested in this. I think I'm reading about, blockchains. There's always been a tie-up with blockchains in real estate, right? I think before the last bubble or crash in crypto, there were talks and companies of saying, hey, why don't we put Ethereum smart contracts for your residential contract? Why do you have to have this paper copy? Just put it on the blockchain. It's immutable, 100%, like all title could be on blockchain, right? So we don't even need title records and microfiche when you go to the assessor's office, right? It could be there. But what are your thoughts about that with what we're doing? Because we might want to put development on the blockchain, right? And Ethereum contracts or Cardano contracts or what have you. And you're able to be a part owner of a development where there's no fraud, there's no money laundering. It's 100% transparent, and it's so easy to do, if that makes sense, right? So what are your thoughts about that?
I don't personally know anything much or know much about blockchain or anything like that. I think I own like 0.1 Ethereum, but the way you talk
congrats,
about
it's up. It's like
yeah, it's going up. Yeah. But if the fact that it's a lot safer like that, I think makes it less risky, and that would cause more people to get involved. And it's always better to have more people involved. Like development goes faster and everything like that. So I think it's definitely a benefit.
Agreed. Yeah. Anyone else?
I can't say I know much about blockchain either, but is it regulated by the government?
Yeah, good question. So right now, I think it's not. SEC it's a football. They tossed it out and they said, hey, it's something we should address, yada, yada. Now with this new rise in altcoins and everything, DeFi, NFTs, you got all this stuff going on. They're now addressing it. But I just feel, Janet Yellen, who used to be the Fed president before, she's now the, Treasury Secretary. And she said something a couple months ago, which I shake my head. She was just like, oh, Bitcoin was used for money laundering and drug dealing. And I'm like, what? Like maybe in the early days, right? But like, no, it's legitimate. You have Tesla, you could buy Teslas with Bitcoin. They even, Tesla invested $1 billion in Bitcoin, I think last September at that price point. They've already made more money on their Bitcoin investment than they've ever made in their profit margin selling cars since their existence. So that's the power of cryptocurrency.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you're right. Like, the thing with us, that's a good point, Conrad, is if Brickwork wants to kind of delve in this, and we have developers and investors pulling our reports, right? Or being getting exposed to our reports. They might want to invest in that project that me and Anahi are working on, right? For this partner, and go, hey, I want to help you guys. It might just be an easy way for someone foreign to go, here's, I'll invest. How are you going to run the investment? It's on an Ethereum contract. Great. How is that going to be off Ethereum coins, or is that going to be off a crypto that you guys create that's built on top of Ethereum? Yeah, sure. Then it was a quick and easy way. But the governance is what's concerning. Is okay. Well, for tax purposes, right? IRS, are they gonna, because if you do real estate development on the blockchain, it'll literally be the SEC because of the whole investor, you're taking investment, and then IRS for taxes, and then the state or the municipality accepting the ownership in the LLC for the title, right? And so you have all of these people that have a say in whether it's legitimate or not, but without that kind of like sense of security, we still aren't going to be able to do it. But I just do it out there because I'm a big fan of crypto, and I actually do have a healthy chunk of Bitcoin, Ethereum and stuff. And I'm interested in the whole NFT thing. And obviously I'm not, maybe Anahi, outside of Anahi, musicians getting funded on NFT, I think is great, right? Their records, their career could be all NFT. That's amazing. But I'm more like, well, how do we put that in a real estate deal, right? Like, how do we get something built, again, for good purposes? Like we're talking about rents, and Erik's mentioning people moving to Denver and Texas for, they could get twice the square footage and for the same price. How do we then create a solution for them so they don't have to leave, right? And so what kind of creates that ability to bring the cost down for development? So I agree. Erik said ADU is the biggest solution, and that's why we've been focused on that. I mean, what better way to get a unit than it's in your house already? Yeah, you could put a modular build on there, but it practically takes about a month or two to get approved and done versus a bigger development that'll take probably a course of a full year.
Yeah, I think that's another one thing that I'm interested in is what other companies are kind of like what you mentioned, like if it's possible to do, contracts like Ethereum contracts, and obviously Tesla is doing, Bitcoin and stuff like that. What other companies are doing that sort of thing, and, to what extent? And also, if we had a brick coin, I wouldn't complain about that either.
Conrad, so after this, we need to talk, because I've been wanting, you don't understand how many bookmarks I have. I should share my screen. How to start an ICO off of Cardano. Is Ethereum, the gas fees are too expensive, so Cardano is a better solution for that. Like, there's all these like nuance, but why don't we have a brickwork coin? Why not? But we really want that. Here's my thoughts on that is I want that to be more of a leverage or a solution for affordable housing. Does that make sense? Because there's plenty of people, like you guys talked about, Hailey talked about, near USC's campus. Why is the housing so expensive? Those developers are building luxury student housing, luxury housing for students. It just doesn't make any sense to me, right? And so I just feel maybe we create a brickwork coin and allow for other investors to help offset some of the development costs for future gain, or they just might want to just do it, right? Just be like, we want to be a part of the change for Los Angeles or California, so we'll just do it. So again, I think I would want to use it for those purposes, is to really green light projects that are going to affect the community in a good way, which multiple ways you could do it. But for sure, number one is keeping the rents low, right? Like, you cannot alienate the neighbors and the community.
An entire portion of the market.
Yeah.
And I think I was going to mention about we got to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, especially in like the USC area, it's like, personally, I'm not seeing any kind of progress, but I think definitely it's something, it's a conversation that needs to be had. It's, can we take those commercial buildings and, formulate them into, affordable housing, stuff like that. So I think definitely got to start somewhere, got to have those conversations. And, we'll make a difference, hopefully.
Yeah, that brings up a good point. I think for you and Hailey to have this interest in real estate and development, there's actually someone that I was moderating a clubhouse room with from Washington, D.C., where you're from, Hailey, and he but is developing stuff all over the U.S. A lot of his projects are in Philly, and they're affordable. And the way he was describing it, he's your age, he's early 20s, mid 20s, and he was just like, oh, we created the blueprint on how to make affordable housing at scale. It's like, one of the people are like asking, how is that? And he's like, oh, you'd be surprised. All you have to do is just figure out what are all the resources available to you? What are the low income housing tax exempt bond financing that's available for each state? There's state specific, there's city specific, and then there's something federally through HUD that you could tap into. What are your financing costs? How to keep those as low as possible? What are some charities that you can kind of work together with to be able to take better, like the IRS will give you some tax breaks because you have a charitable component. How much of the charitable component will help you get the bond financing? So he was like, we hacked this so we could just do this at scale. And when I heard that, I was like, come to LA, come to California. Like, you're in Philly. I'm sure they have their own set of problems. Like, get it. But I was just like, I pinged them on LinkedIn. I said, look, I know you're busy, but I'd love to get you on a podcast because your solution needs to be implemented here. So for both you, Conrad and Hailey, if you guys, after this, I'll send you his profile. If you guys could reach out, he's hacked affordable housing. So it'd be great to get him on a pod. Maybe you guys could be a part of that interview. And then furthermore, let's try to have him direct some of his energy here, because the solution is that formula that he created, right? Is taking all the resources, underwriting it in his spreadsheet and figuring out, oh, wow, we're 2 million short. How do we fill the gap? If we need 2 million of revenue or 2 million of profitability in this project, but it nets so many affordable units, that's what he's found out, is how to fill that $2 million gap for that development. So great point. Okay, so I guess final thoughts. We're going late on our team meeting, but that's fine. Those guys always come late from the Irvine meeting anyways, and we're just gonna transition quickly into speaking with Tucker and Alex. So final thoughts. Anyone want to share? Let me just give you all an opportunity to share instead of me open like that. So let's start off with you, Eric. Final thoughts on anything that you want to share.
Well, I guess I'm just having fun with this whole project and the ADUs, and especially the massing. It's been great to learn some more Revit skills as well as use what I already know. So I'm just thankful for the opportunity, and I've enjoyed it a lot, and I can't wait to see where it continues to go. Yeah,
it's crazy, Eric. You literally took one lesson from ANX, what was her, Jessica, I think, at ANX, and you ran with it, and you're now running the show. So crazy. We're super excited to see what more you can do with more time. So excited for you being on the team. Hailey, yeah.
I'm really excited to see where the GIS map goes. I think it would be amazing to have like almost a one-stop place where you can find all the zoning information, all the building rules and everything for LA, and hopefully the entire state of California one day in our imaginations. But I'm really excited to be a part of that and see what happens.
Absolutely. Good point. We need all the help. So very soon enough, you're going to be in that chat room talking with our GIS analysts. So it just seems like it's exciting. We've been wanting this for 2 years. It looks like we're at the early stages finally of it. And you're absolutely right. There's no map for the US. It's crazy. You have Zillow, $10-12 billion public company now, but there's no zoning at all. All they do is their Z estimate, and they sell ads to agents, or they actually have disrupted agents. They're their own brokerage now. So bite the hand that feeds, right? Like literally took a platform that was built from agents and now flipped the script on them. So yeah, agree. I'm excited about the map. Anahi.
Yeah, I'm also really excited about the ADUs and what we're doing with the ADUs. And I'm just really grateful for this opportunity to be a part of that, and also to be exposed to people who are spearheading movements in real estate development and urban planning. And yeah, I'm just really grateful for this opportunity.
Awesome. Likewise. And I want to bring up the point for all of you guys, all four of you, whoever you want to speak with on a platform like this, feel free to invite, right? Because I think we're lacking in representation for GIS. I would love to get someone that's a GIS professor on this podcast, or maybe even a company that's spearheading more of that in different fields, right? Climate change obviously is reliant heavily on Esri products, but you know, I've been to the Esri user conference a few years ago in San Diego, and you had Pasadena represented. So the mayor, the police chief was all talking about how they're implementing Esri maps, right? So the police chief was like, hey, here's a map. Here's all our 911 calls in a 1 month period. Where are they in Pasadena? Who are they? What time of day? What was the response time? How can we get there faster? What's the true story? So that's what maps represent. I think GIS is really data that are put into stories that reveal how to better serve whatever the issue is, right? So it's just kind of a geographic story of the problem and how to create that solution. So anyhow, just want to throw that out there. Conrad.
Yeah, I think I'm really excited to, just grow, I think personally and as a company, being able to, like I mentioned earlier, learn about, different real estate and startup nuances and all that sort of stuff. And obviously we're doing exciting stuff. And so I'm excited to see, the people we're able to, bring on and have buy-in to, the stuff we're doing here, and to see it all pay off. So excited for that.
Awesome. Yeah. And I'm excited to get to a point where you lead one of these podcasts, Conrad.
One of these days we'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, very soon enough. I think I definitely see potential in you as well. So can't wait for you to kind of represent us at scale, but in due time. So hey guys, so thank you again. I'm really excited to have you guys on. I know I got to give a thanks to you and also coming from Alex, because we know what crazy schedules you have right now, midterms, remotely, final projects, open book tests, but the questions are so difficult. What's the whole use of an open book? So whatever that is that you guys are living, and also you guys are definitely, I think, top tier in that you still want to work on top of doing that because you see opportunity to learn, to gain experience, insight, and it'll help you guys in your post-graduation. So a big thank you again to you guys, and I'm excited to see what we do. So thank you guys so much.